Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking something that can absolutely change the entire trajectory of an educator's career. There's this really common misconception that teaching is just about managing your one single classroom, shutting the door, and kind of just doing your own thing. But as the source material for today's explainer shows us, true professional growth goes way, way beyond those four walls. It's about stepping up, expanding your influence, and literally shaping the entire culture of your school. So think about this. What really separates a good teacher from a true educational leader? It's a pretty provocative question, isn't it? Well, it isn't just about racking up years of experience or having these perfectly crafted lesson plans. It's actually about a very intentional journey. And today, we're going to frame our entire explainer around that exact journey. How you take the awesome expertise you've built working with students and translate it into a massive, wide-reaching educational impact.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We'll be exploring the concentric circles of a teacher's impact. We'll start with number 1, the rise of teacher leaders, 2, mastering reflective practice, 3, engaging the adult learner, 4, the action research cycle, and finally, 5, building networks and advocacy.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the rise of teacher leaders, stepping outside the classroom. Taking on leadership roles isn't just some extra chore, and it definitely isn't just something you do to boost your resume. It actually improves your whole school's climate. But to do it, you need some core competencies. We're talking about engaging in reflective practice, serving as a model for others, possessing deep self-awareness, engaging in community issues, communicating effectively, and leveraging technology. You might assume that a top-tier school with great test scores just runs on autopilot. No way. Actually, even the best schools rely heavily on teacher leaders who display these exact skills to keep standards high and spot those hidden areas for improvement. Moving right along to Section 2, mastering reflective practice. The first circle of impact, the self. Okay, so before we can go out and lead others, we have to master our own internal practice. Having a huge toolbox full of teaching strategies is fantastic, right? But master teachers succeed because they know exactly how to select the right tool for the job. I mean, you wouldn't use a hammer to drive a screw. Reflective practice is precisely how novice teachers build the muscle to select that perfect pedagogical tool for whatever wild scenario the classroom throws at them. It's a continuous process of challenging your own practices just to get better. And that brings us to a really vital concept, cultural competence. This is your ability to understand and appropriately respond to unique cultural variables, things like race, ethnicity, language, or disability. Now, you don't just wake up one day with this confidence, and there's definitely no single magic book that's going to grant it to you. You build it over time, day by day, through highly intentional reflection, making absolutely sure that your pedagogical toolbox is actually serving a wildly diverse student population. So let's put this into practice. Picture a master teacher's internal monologue right after the final bell rings and the kids are pouring out into the hallway. It almost always starts with one super fundamental post-lesson question. Did this lesson accomplish what I intended? It's super simple, but it totally grounds everything that comes next. But a true leader doesn't stop at the lesson plan. The reflective momentum keeps rolling right into the next question. Why did a particular student respond that way? See what happened there? We're shifting focus from the nuts and bolts of the lesson mechanics over to human behavior and student psychology. We're digging so much deeper into the why. And finally, to wrap up this rapid-fire sequence of self-reflection, we ask ourselves, was there an opportunity to make this lesson more culturally relevant? This ties directly back to equity and checking our own personal biases. Like, what assumptions did we inadvertently make when planning? True professional growth absolutely requires questioning your own assumptions constantly.
All right, Section 3, engaging the adult learner. This is our second circle of impact, peers.
Now we're stepping into that second circle of impact, taking the tools we've just sharpened through self-reflection and using them to lead professional development for our own peers. And honestly, this can be a pretty jarring shift. When you teach kids, you're the authority figure, right? The students are often basically a blank slate. But teaching adults, man, they are critical, they're definitely less forgiving, and they already possess a massive wealth of experience. You aren't just handing out new knowledge, you are essentially asking experienced professionals to change practices they've relied on for years. So you better have a really good incentive for them to do it. So, how do we actually pull this off? By making strategic accommodations. Adult learners crave relevance. They need actual time scheduled right into your session to evaluate new info against what they already know to be true. You absolutely have to acknowledge their outside lives and responsibilities.
I mean, you certainly can't treat them like middle schoolers by expecting them to ask permission to use the restroom. The big takeaway here is that adults are highly cooperative when you respect their independence, set really clear expectations early on, and do things like establish cell phone policies and break times together collaboratively.
Here we are at Section 4, the Action Research Cycle, improving practice through data. Okay, this is where things get really dynamic. This is where teachers advance the entire educational field right from their own hallways. Action research is simply when the person conducting the study is the exact same person taking the action. For instance, let's say you notice your second period class is really struggling with reading comprehension. Instead of just guessing what's wrong, you systematically test out a new annotation method, you track their quiz scores, and you adjust your teaching on the fly to improve outcomes. It's an incredibly practical, immediate tool for self-improvement.
There are 7 steps to action research. It starts with clarifying your initial theories, selecting a focus, identifying research questions, collecting and analyzing data, all the way to reporting results and taking informed action. These steps might actually look pretty familiar to you. They perfectly mirror the continuous improvement cycle used in school-wide planning and PLCs. It just brings that rigorous, structured data collection directly into your day-to-day teaching practice.
Now here's the real so what factor for you personally. Beyond just helping your students, which is great, sharing your action research results, whether that's in your PLC or presenting at a professional conference, seriously develops your essential leadership skills. Doing this can directly and positively impact your own teacher performance and formal evaluation ratings. Honestly, it's a total win-win.
And finally, Section 5, Building Networks and Advocacy. The third circle, the community.
Stepping into this widest circle of our impact means we're leveraging the broader community to support student success. Now, I know building a network can sound incredibly overwhelming, but there's a super practical 4-step procedure for it. First, use public awareness to just get the word out. Second, identify just a tiny core group, like 3 or 4 friendly supporters. Third, co-create a specific targeted purpose with them. Don't just vaguely say, hey, let's make things better. Say, we need 3 local businesses to sponsor our new spring robotics tournament. And fourth, engage that group in a continuous improvement cycle. The honest truth is, people in your community actually want to help, provided you give them a really clear, defined mission.
And while we're engaging the community, we have to talk about advocacy. I really want to highlight this quote directly from our sources. Every post on social media adds to your brand. It is so incredibly true. Venting online or posting negatively isn't just a bad look for the profession as a whole, it literally harms your personal, professional reputation. On the flip side, boosting positive, uplifting posts actively elevates your brand as an educational leader.
But hey, you don't even need a digital platform to be an advocate. Advocacy absolutely does not require a formal space, a fancy blog, or a speaking gig at some big conference. It starts simply by being intentional with your words. You can be a powerhouse advocate for educational equity just by sharing positive experiences and highlighting student needs during everyday, casual conversations, literally right in the grocery store aisle.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've covered internal reflection, engaging other adults, action research, and building community networks. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. What is the next tool you will add to your teacher leadership toolbox to expand your circle of impact today? Take a moment, reflect on your own practice, take that very first bold step outward, and we will see you in the next explainer.